Good evening, everybody. So, I decided that I'm going to do another response video to one that my son did, and I'm going to try to go off of the dome. So, first of all, here's your quote of the day. It's March the 29th, and it says, "At the center of your being, you have the answer. You know who you are, and you know what you want." By Lao Tzu. And this actually is timely for what I was thinking to do the video on. I happened to watch today Nick Cannon's Counsel Culture, and it was on optimism and practicality. And they spoke about specifically what I was thinking about is the fact that what you feed yourself is basically who you are. And therefore, the social media, the algorithms and all of that is going to continue to feed that to you. This is actually what you live and what you breathe. So all the negativity and all the fear that you continue to watch is feeding your soul. That's how you continue to live and think. But if you start to feed yourself more positive things and surround yourself with positive people, this is how you'll live and breathe. Don't be afraid of certain things. More like be authentically you, which actually goes well with this quote. However, you should watch that particular episode yourself. Again, this is on Nick Cannon's Counsel Culture on optimism and whatever I said, optimism and whatever. Now, the response video that I am doing is one that my son did on He's Fashionable Lee, and it was entitled, Someone is Always Watching. Now, I had already did a video, 3 videos actually, in response to things that people had to say about Umar Johnson, Dr. Umar Johnson. In particular, my point is about no matter what he is doing in his personal life, the message that he has been trying to get across should not stop you personally if you believe in the message. If you decide that you want to tear him down or tear others in the community down, then that is more about you than it is about him. And that message that I was trying to convey wasn't really hitting enough people, because those who responded, it was like 50-50. And those who responded negatively still were responding negatively to the person of whom he is. Now, what is happening now is that Marvin Sapp, is he a reverend? If he is, he's a minister of music or whatever he is. I am not following that situation closely, but the point still remains that I was trying to make is that Dr. Umar Johnson is still a person. And in the conversation that my husband had with me, he was saying that the same energy that everyone is having when trying to hold Dr. Umar Johnson accountable, you need to keep that same energy to hold your politicians and your pastors accountable as well. And so what happened? Now it has gone viral about something that Marvin Sapp has done. I have heard people say that once that happened, they knew about it. They no longer are listening to his music. Now I have heard people say, now mind you, I have not watched the video. Those of you who are new, I am no longer a Christian. So I am not a Christian. But I am aware of some things that do happen in many of the Christian denominations. However, I have heard some of the responses that have said that that particular thing that he did of locking the doors and saying that people are not going to be let out, and the fact that it was streamed live, that people were not going to be let out until the $40,000 or however much it was is raised, was done at a convention, and that it was pretty much theatrics, which specifically that was something that my husband mentioned in our conversation about the theatrics of politics and the theatrics of religion. But anywho, people were saying that what Marvin Sapp did, some said that this is on brand for him because this is something that he has done multiple times. But people have said this was theatrics, this was at a convention, it was only a part of a bigger message that he was delivering, and it was taken out of context. Even still, this is something that is kind of normal and people understand what is happening, which is why it's not a big deal to them. But to other people, it is a big deal because they don't understand. And this is why people don't go to church no more. And what are people doing with all this money and all of this? Point being, some folks have become judgmental. Some folks believe that Marvin Sapp and other pastors, Christians, the church should now be under fire, should be under scrutiny, and yes, yada, yada, yada. They want to know what is happening with the money. Why are we continuing to give pastors and churches money? There is no evidence of what they are doing with this money. In the same vein of what was happening with Dr. Umar Johnson. What is happening with this money? And so I heard of the last couple of lines that Marvin Sapp's response was that in his response, the same energy and passion that y'all attacked him, you ought to share his response with that same energy and passion. I like that because still it goes with the same thing that my husband was saying. Keep that same energy. So I wonder what are you all thinking and feeling, period, point blank, about it all. Back to how does this all tie in together into me responding to the video that my son made about someone is always watching. As I have stated, in both situations, Dr. Umar Johnson, Marvin Sapp, pastors, politicians, they are all still just people. No one should be putting them on a pedestal. And because the moment that you do and something happens that you don't like or you disagree with, you're going to scrutinize them. You're going to try to cancel them. You're going to come to a judgment. You're not going to try to understand the situation. You're not going to have a healthy debate. Now, what I think of or how it applies to me, the video that my son was talking about, is for me that someone is always watching. At the time that my husband had delivered this message to the family, is for me, someone is always watching. So I have to watch like my behavior, my speech, and speech patterns, because at this time we were coming from just being regular military family to being diplomats, at least I think. We were preparing to, because from my recollection, we were still living in North Carolina, so we hadn't moved yet. But to know that someone is always watching. And so what's going to happen is that what does the fruit look like that I am planting? And which I have said as well when I'm talking about Dr. Umar Johnson. If someone is watching me from afar and I don't know it, what facial expressions have I been making? What does my body tone say? Have people witnessed me yelling at my kids? Have people witnessed me whooping my kids in public, and whoopings that, if you've seen the other video of me responding to my son, you will know what I am talking about. This is on brand with what I'm talking about. However, someone is always watching, and we can even take it positively. Dealing with like imposter syndrome, or thinking that you're not the one, and turning it into a why not you. Everyone does not know your story. People do not know what you have gone through. Sometimes you may make something look easy, and people want to be you. The whole thing about the grass looks greener on the other side, because someone is always watching. And so people may want you to be their mentor. People think you got it made. And like in my case, some people are like, you're so strong, or your kids are so well behaved. You got a good marriage, or whatever the case may be, but still not understanding the struggle of holding a marriage together without having that example for you, right? Both of us coming from a single mother household. My husband did indeed have, his grandparents to look at. I didn't have anybody to look at to show me what a marriage looks like, to show me what patience looks like. So the patience to argue correctly, the patience to parent, correctly, the patience even to deal with the separations of all the deployments that my husband has been on. And even still, whooping my kids. My kids are well behaved. They are respectful. But that simply also comes with just how you rear your kids. Even having the example of two parents, it doesn't take a lot. So someone is always watching. People given the credit to say you are so strong. Again, like, I don't know how you do it. It also comes with some self-doubt. It also comes with feeling lonely sometimes, feeling unworthy actually sometimes, because putting aside the career to parent, and parenting, to not be able to do other things. Well, just, it's really just repetitive. Having to parent first, or feeling like the parenting comes ahead of the career and all of that. But people are always watching. So whether you look at that positively or negatively, just know that it is true. And the quote, at the center of your being, you have the answer. So whether someone has given you criticism or someone has given you praise, which also is stated in this episode of Counsel Culture, if you're going to pay attention to the negative things that someone has said to you, you give that same energy to the positive things that someone has said to you. So don't throw yourself a pity party and then give the praise. It's the same. Give the same energy to both, or give them both no energy at all. That actually is the part that spoke to me, because we also have to. We have also been told that for every 10 negative comments, there's the one positive, or for the one positive, there's 10 negatives. However, which way you have heard that quote, I think the better one is give the exact same energy to both. And so, before I go any further, I'm going to just end it there. I'm going to post a link to my son's video, and I'm going to post a link to the Nick Cannon episode. So with that, before the sun goes down and more of Mother Nature tries to get in the way, I want you to enjoy the rest of your weekend, and just know that you matter and you were put here for a purpose. Take care of yourself.